go on.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Today we'll be presenting the first dedicated anti-child trafficking operations of Railway Protection Force. Is my presentation?
Yeah, we can see.
So we'll be talking about Operation Nanne Farishte. The name was given by our then Principal Chief Security Commissioner, Shri D.B. Kasar. And we envisioned that there were a lot of child rescues that were happening in bits and pieces in various railway stations. As you know that human trafficking is the second largest crime in the world. And when we talk about child trafficking or trafficking of women in various places from feeder to destination states in the country, we see that railways, Indian Railways has a vast reach. We have presence in almost every nook and corner of the country. And therefore, we see that it is being misused by miscreants. And in 99% of the cases, the trafficking happens through railways. And we see that because Railway Protection Force does not have powers under ITPA or 370-70A, and it was earlier not also a mandate which was taken up by RPF. So people did not, focus on rescue of children. It was very person-specific in places. And it is happening in a piecemeal and people where places the officers were taking interest. But as a system, as a whole, where child rescue would be taken up as a mandate, that was not happening. So in 2017, it was envisioned that it is a need of the hour that RPF, being the immediate responder, we are present in all over the stations, in all stations throughout the nation. We do not have any jurisdictional issues, and therefore we should intervene. And being the immediate responder, we should take up this matter and see that child rescue is being done in a proper systematic manner. So NCRB says, as we know, that every 8 minutes one child is missing in this country. The statistics and the data would be huge, and I would not talk about statistics because every child that we rescue, each one of them, they have their story. They have their stories of trauma and torment and some sort of exploitation that has happened to the child. So we would not focus on statistics too much today. We started Operation Nanne Farishte or Little Angels in 2017, and from then in Bangalore we have been able to rescue around 2848 children who were trafficked from various parts of the country and also from Nepal and other places. So first we would focus on Karnataka state. So when we did an analysis, we didn't want to start it just as a single operation. We wanted to do it as proper with a data-driven approach. So we started with an analysis of the entire rescues being done, train-specific, time-specific, season-specific, age-specific, region-specific. So we wanted to identify the trafficking corridors from what are the destination states and what are the feeder states from where they are coming. Even if the feeder states have there are certain categories where we would understand that there are people who are being brought for child labor, for organ trade, for flesh trade. Say for example, people mostly are brought for child labor in Bangalore. They are being brought for flesh trade in regions of the Vasco, Goa, Londa, that section. So identifying all the patterns first. Second was skill development and training of our teams. So we started with training our teams, and the first resistance was everybody said this is not our job, and why suddenly have you taken up this thing, and why suddenly we are supposed to do this. So sensitization of the forces on the ground, that was one of the very important thing that we did. And We incorporated NGOs. We incorporated the law enforcement agencies, AHTUs, the ICDS, the state SPCR, the NGOs who were working with bonded labor, child labor in the entire state, and we got them to train our people. There was a systematic training program called 7 Eyes, which was formulated, where we talked about how to identify victims of trafficking and the traffickers in a scenario, because railway stations are such, we have got, like for example, if you talk of CST Mumbai, there is 47 lakh footfall in one day. About Bangalore, we have got a footfall of around 5 lakh people. So within that 5 lakh people who travel to stations in a day, how to spot? So the behavioral analysis was one thing which came into very handy, which we taught our men how to identify the trafficking victims, what are the questions you should be asking, what is the law at this point of time, what kind of legal intervention we can do at this point of time, and how many such interventions would result in uniting the children with their families. So an SOP, before starting about Operation Nanne Farishte in detail, I would like to say that an SOP was formulated by Ministry of Railways with Ministry of Women and Child in 2015. And the SOP was such that which talked about the rescue of children who came in contact with railways. But in letter and spirit, the SOP, we found it was not being implemented. So we wanted to put in place a system where every child who requires help, who comes to the railway stations, can be rescued and can be reunited with their parents, or be handed over to the CWC in this case, and they can be reskilled and brought to the mainstream. So first thing that we did was we trained our people, we put them on the ground, and we understood that passenger and passenger area was one of our chartered mandates. So therefore, child rescue and anybody who comes in the railway stations, their safekeeping and safe journey was a part of our mandate. That was drilled into the institution. We also control the pan-India CCTV command and control rooms throughout the railway stations. So RPF has added advantage that CCTV monitoring of such children who are in need of help, not only trafficked but lost, runaway children who are also high vulnerable criteria, who are also in high vulnerable criteria, because they are also they can be trafficked, because we have seen 2-3 cases such in Bangalore as well as Mysore and Hubli in Karnataka. So stages of human trafficking. We understand that there are 7 stages. Why RPF plays a very important role in rescuing the children. Whenever a child or a person is rescued from human trafficking places, say a brothel or a brick kiln or any such places, the child is already exploited. The trauma is already done. In this stage, as per ITPN 370-70A, the exploitation starts right from the transportation stage. But when the person is being transported, the child is being transported, say from Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, Bengal to Bangalore or such destination places, before the user industry, the child can be handed over to the user industry, and the user industry starts exploiting the child. We can rescue them, and therefore we become a very, very important responder in this case of anti-human trafficking operations. And we have seen that children who have been brought back and who have been brought back to mainstream, they have been put into schools, they are going into, so because the ICDS is a part of it, we are talking to the states who are sending those children. I mean, the states from which the children are being sent, we are also catching the traffickers. So we are not only rescuing the child, we are breaking the network of the traffickers. We are also talking with the state AHTUs. We are helping them with information, further information about the child. We have created child help desks at all important stations. We have created child-friendly spaces in all of our RPF thanas. And now, after a time, that is from 2017, we started and ma'am. And after a time, that is from 2019, the Railway Board, New Delhi, has by its executive order replicated Operation Nanne Farishte in all zonal railways. And this model of dedicated anti-child trafficking operation, which was initially started here in Bangalore by our then PCSC, Shri Kasar, that model was replicated through all zonal railways. And not only the destination states, now even the feeder states. So today itself, DSC Sonpur was giving us an information in our WhatsApp group that 21 children were rescued from Chhapra station and Muzaffarpur station by RPF in an operation in the morning. So it has become a pan-India operation right now. We also see.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. Could you please conclude your presentation in next 2 minutes?
Yes. We also see that we need the support of civil society. So to conclude, two things. One is we also incorporated the Nobel laureate, Shri Kailash Satyarthi, to come and give us guidance over the entire issue. We are coordinating with various foundations like the Infosys Foundation, the Sudha Murthy Foundation, and we have been working tirelessly since then to rescue children. And as I said, let's not talk about numbers. Every child that we have rescued, they matter. And we have brought about a change in the system because we have put a place now. Child rescue is a mandate of RPF throughout the country, not only in SWR, Southwestern Zone, Bangalore, but it is a mandate throughout the country where every child who's coming to the station, we are trained to look after them. We are trained to see whether they are being trafficked or not. At the end, I would say what inspired us was this. We did a lot of rescues in organ trade, child prostitution, and flesh trade, etc. But something that we really thought that really impacted us was that we will not wait for leaders, we'll do it person to person. So every one of us, not only in Bangalore, but everyone who is incorporated today, even the Sonpur team today who has rescued 21 children, this has been happening. And we have, I would say we have started this initiative, and we feel that we'll be able to make some impact, some disruption.
I think you have taken a very good initiative. As you rightly said, every child rescued is an achievement. Yeah, that's true. We don't go by statistics. But what you just touched upon that the rescued children are put into school. Do you also try to, and also you link to Khoya Paya. So how many children you think, because you cannot put all the children to school and then the subsequent, not only expenditure, but the emotional aspect of the child cannot be looked into. So you must be having some kind of a, putting into Khoya Paya is one way, but otherwise what kind of action you take, because you nicely said that you have got a standard operating procedure written. So what is the procedure for contacting the parents of the child? Yes, and getting them together? And how successful have you been in that?
Yes, ma'am. So the SOP says that between the railways and Ministry of WCD, we say that we have to produce a child to CWC. We found that the CWC, we are the Child Welfare Committee, it's a quasi-judicial committee in every district of every state, but CWC does not convene every day in the week. So we have intervened in that also. We spoke to the state government. We got the CWC to give their judgments on phone, or we have to present them with one member of CWC also, so that if the father or the mother, not the brother, sisters, anybody, but if the parent, that is the father or the mother of the child, is available, and we have verified the documents from our, as I said, we have no jurisdictional issue, so I can verify it from Bihar unit also. If the parents are the actual parents of the child, then we hand it over to them. With written intimation to CWC, we have been able to hand over 60% of the children back to their parents, and counseling the parents also. Because in many cases of child labor, we see that the parents are socioeconomically, they are so distressed that they are being coerced or they are being manipulated by these traffickers to say that, your child will get a job here, and instead of putting them into a non-hazardous job or anything, they are putting them into brick kilns. And we have got stories where we got children without fingerprints. I mean, we rescued children without fingerprints because they were put into those battery acid factories. We've got children in the pandemic, while we were, it was like peak of pandemic, in COVID, we saw 150 girls from Odisha who were locked up in a factory in Bangalore, and with the help of our coordinating NGO, we got a full coach for them for free. The railways gave that for free, and we got them back.
And you have got institutional linkages for housing these till the parents take or whatever decision is taken by CW. That kind of linkage is there.
Yes.
With a women home or a children's home, like that.
Childline India Foundation, which is the designated Childline, because it is a pan-India organization, and we hand over only to the designated NGO, not to any other NGO.
Okay, very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
I have one question. It's an excellent effort, but my concern is how do you make it sustainable? You are there, other leaders are there, so it is running right now. But what is the institutional mechanism to make it sustainable? Because this is something which this social evil is not easily removed from our society. So how do you make this initiative sustainable?
Thank you. Actually, sir, this initiative was started as a pilot in SWR in Bengaluru. But after that, when this was presented to the ministry by the executive order of the Railway Board, New Delhi, it was replicated and it was made as an institutionalized mechanism. So now Operation Nanne Farishte is a part of all zonal railways. Child rescue is something which we are asked about. I mean, it's now a top-down approach. It's not just a one piecemeal initiative anywhere. We are asked as a part of our duties, how many children rescued, what happened to those children, whether they went to the parents, whether they went to the CWC, whether they are still in the child home. So entire system has been made a part of the institution, and child rescue has been.
Okay, good.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Can we go to the next presentation now?
Yes, sir, please.